Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. As you can hear, there is no drilling or banging going on outside with all that construction, which can only mean one thing. It is very dark, it is very early, it is very much a Wednesday. Oh, baby, we are diving into some animated Avengers action, and I think this is an episode that we've all been waiting for. What are we talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair? Take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in spoiler-free into Marvel Studios' What If? Episode 5. And in all honesty, my favorite thing about this episode is its title. What If Zombies? We're putting it right on Front Street, baby. We are going to a Marvel Cinematic Universe filled with zombies. And while I don't think this one quite stands up to T'Challa as Star-Lord or Evil Doctor Strange, which are still my two favorite episodes. This is easily my third favorite of the season, and that's just because it's so much freaking fun. Like, when you see my reactions during the spoiler review, you are going to see a lot of laughter and a lot of, oh no! Like, there are so many oh no moments as you find out which Avengers are zombies and which Avengers are not zombies. And I just thoroughly enjoyed the way AC Bradley plays with the story, top to bottom. It's one of those things, the things that I've liked the most so far in the series are the ones that, detour or differentiate the most from what we know the Marvel Cinematic Universe to be. So once again, we have an in point for this episode that brings us in from a moment from the Cinematic Universe, except this time when we land where we are, it is a very, very different outlook. And that was one of the things I really dug about this episode, was that you didn't see what changed right away, right? Like, usually Uatu tease us up with, like, yeah, everything like this normally happens, but what if somebody did this? And I like that this episode you don't get that right away, but when you do finally find out why zombies are a thing, it makes so much sense inside the cinematic universe, and is such a cool, I thought, entry point into this type of story. Let alone just any entry point into a world where zombies could exist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Was a lot of fun to see AC Bradley set up, and I thought he did it in a really excellent way. Like, I've been saying it all season, this guy understands this universe better than most of us, I would have to think. Like, maybe the only guy who understands the universe better than AC Bradley at this point is Kevin Feige himself, but, like, he picked the perfect thing that could lead to a world filled with zombie Avengers. And that was really cool. And I love how this story plays out. Like you end up having this kind of ragtag group that's left, that has survived. I tell you, if you're a fan of Zombieland, there is a really cool, like, combo moment of, like, something that's very much MCU, but that kind of fits in with, like, the Zombieland vibe. And how they kind of navigate and, like, why these people have survived, I thought was really, really interesting. How they figure out where to go or what to do. Like, you're in this situation where it's just like the world is basically a lot of zombies. So what is the move? What's the plan? And watching the Avengers figure out what the plan is, then executing that plan, which was a ton of fun. That there is a sequence inside of a subway station that kind of leads us to where we got to get going to. That's a lot of fun and definitely kept you on the edge of your seat. You're like, oh man, are they going to make it? Because that's one of the other cool things that I really like that Bradley does specifically with this episode is, like, well, this is a what if, right? So anything could happen. So you literally, the entire episode, are not sure who's going to make it to the end of the episode and who's not going to make it to the end of the episode. And that's something that really makes this episode pop, and is that guessing. And it really keeps you on the edge of your seat in certain situations, like that subway sequence where it's like, I don't know who's getting out and who's not. And when you're playing with your favorite toys, that can keep you really, really invested. And when they finally get where they're going, I love the decision making that Bradley made for the story. Like, what I guess equates to like the final showdown, so to speak, for this episode. I really dug what they did and the things that they used and the characters that they bring back in. Like there was just some really wonderful stuff, and one of the other things too is the way that Bradley and his team have been able to like line up certain moments. You know, there are things like obviously there are the moments that lead us into the episode and like, hey, here's the thing that changed. But even inside of the episodes after they've already changed, like some of the moments that, you know, recall certain things from the movies. I love when those pop up, and you get a couple nice ones during that finale. And then I feel like I must say it every week, but Bradley makes me want to go back to every single world we have gone to. And every single world we have gone to has kind of left itself on sort of a cliffhanger. Where, like, yeah, we've wrapped up what the objective of whatever story it is that Bradley is telling, but every episode is kind of left a little open-ended where it's like, could we go back to this universe? And I'll tell you right now, if Season 2 allows us to go back to some of these places, I really, really hope we get to go back to What If Zombies. Because where Bradley decides to leave us might be, like, the biggest of all the cliffhangers, where I was like, wait, I mean, like, last week was the biggest of all the cliffhangers. Like, where they leave last week and the things that are hanging in the balance specifically around the Doctor Strange character, that's probably your biggest cliffhanger of the season. But this, where they ended on this episode, I was like, how are you going to stop there? Like, I want to see what happens next. And it's one of those things where, you know, you hope that we'll be able to go back to some of these places. I mean, we know that a lot of the actors have done more than one episode. We know, or at least there's a decent feel out there that, like, Season 2 is completely finished. And it's just kind of sitting, waiting to go. Or maybe they're going through animatics or something, but at least most of the voice work from Season 2 has already been laid down. I mean, you go on IMDb, you can see that there's 18 episodes, not 9. So, like, knowing that we will be able to go back to potentially all these places. Like I said, the other thing is I'm interested to see how they pull or tie all these stories together. But, I mean, wherever they decide to go, it would be really cool to go back to this place, because where they ended, oh man, dude, it's a doozy. And once again, you get absolutely stellar voice work from the voice cast, and it's a lot of familiar names. For whatever reason, Disney Plus is not functioning on my laptop, so I've got it on my phone, just to make sure you call everybody out that you want to call out. But obviously, you know, I mean, Jeffrey Wright is back. Well, I don't want to. It's a non-spoiler, so I don't want to spoil anything. Except for, I do want to call out. Well, no, you know what? I'll save it. I'll save the call-outs for the non-spoiler, because some of those could give some things away, and there were certain things that popped up in this episode that we've seen in trailers that I didn't realize were going to attach themselves to this story. But I thought everybody who came in for voice work, whether it was alumni or people stepping into a role that was not an alumni. There's one character this week that was voiced by somebody who's not an MCU alumni. And while I felt pretty confident, like early on, that it wasn't their voice, this actor does a pretty good job of stepping in and hitting all the beats, where at least a few times during the episode you're like, well, maybe it is who I think it is. But for the most part, this is an episode where a lot of people show up that we're very familiar with. And there was one cameo this week. Well, I guess not a cameo. I mean, he's a main aspect of the story, but was not somebody I was expecting to show up in the animated Marvel Cinematic Universe. And man, was I so happy when he did, because I absolutely love this guy. But the voice work was very, very good this week. And as always, the animation is stellar. They create some really legitimate zombie situations and images, and the different ways that the different zombies look, and which ones are missing pieces of their body, or what things are like. It just all works, man, and there are some spectacular visuals down the home stretch. But that's it. I think if I say anything else, I'm going to spoil something, and I don't want to spoil anything, because this week had a ton of fun surprises. Like I said, when you see my reactions come spoiler time, there's a lot of laughing going on, and there's also a lot of ooh no, because there are some gruesome moments. Like, it's one of those where you kind of ask, like, would this ever come to live action? And while we've seen zombie Tony Stark before, like, there were some moments where I was like, I mean, they could, but I don't know if that, like, it's one of the things I love about the animated world, is it allows, I think, the MCU to go to some places and traverse some things that they might not be able to pull off in live action. Zombies is one of them, and it was an absolute ball. Like, if you're a fan of zombies, if you're a fan of Marvel, this is gonna be the episode that you really, really enjoy. So let's not waste any more time, man. Let's get the C-Maniacs on up. There they are, and let's give this bad boy a score. Like I said, AC Bradley really has a lot of fun this episode. I think the story, it's a cool entry point, like, to how you get to zombies and how the story unfolds in the combat of the zombie virus. Just allows Bradley to go to some interesting places, create some interesting twists, bring in some characters that we haven't gotten to spend a lot of time with in the overall MCU, and other characters that you would have never expected to see. And everybody that shows up has an absolute blast. You can tell, like, everybody is having fun. They're all bringing their A games, which is always cool. Even the one actor who's got to step into some pretty big shoes. Like, there's one role in this episode where you needed somebody that wasn't an alumni, and they do a pretty good job, and they're there pretty much the whole episode. But cool visuals. I mean, the animation's been great, and just capturing the zombie vibe was right on the money, and that should not shock anybody, because, like I said, AC Bradley has been crushing this show. So for the C-Man, episode 5, What If Zombies, 4.5 out of 5 C-Maniacs, baby. Like I said, not quite the same level of enjoyment for me as episodes 2 or 4, but for a complete one-off, like, that's a totally different story. This one was an absolute blast to watch. So 4.5 out of 5 C-Maniacs for the old C-Man. Now it is your turn. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Where does this episode fall for you in the course of the season? How much fun was the episode? How squeamish did you get during the episode? And was it what you were hoping for? I know for at least me, when the trailers dropped and we were like, oh my gosh, they're going to do Zombie Avengers, that immediately makes you go, oh, like, you set your own expectations. So where did this episode land in what you were hoping for in a world with Zombie Avengers? Anything you got, man. Good, bad, indifferent. On Marvel Studios' What If Episode 5, What If Zombies, goes down below in the comment section. Look forward to talking to you all down there. And please, keep it spoiler free. The spoiler review will be up a little bit later, and we can talk about all the wonderful spoiler goodies. But yeah, make sure you hit those comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man anytime we're talking Marvel, movies, television, trailer reactions, what if. You want to be here every Wednesday as we cover this wonderful animated gift that Marvel has given us. I don't feel like a ton of people have bought in yet, but trust me, it is so worth the watch. And, like, based on what we saw last week, could be setting up some things that could hit the Marvel live-action cinematic universe. So definitely worthwhile. And if you want to be here for all my coverage on What If, or just anything that's going on in the Marvel cinematic universe, you like what I'm doing, you want to show a little love and support, well, hey, come join C-Maniac Nation by hitting that subscribe button over there. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema, sit down. I've been the C-Man, and I am signing off. Peace! Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.